Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Ultra Confusion Thursday Night Hangout.
I'm ready to sneeze. Sorry, you know the moment you're like to sneeze and it's my day? Hello! How goes it, Mr. Luminosity?
It goes well. Of course, I am your host, Charlie. I'm joined once again by the Politicar himself, and trying desperately to sneeze, Zealeus. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to just move along while he waits for his sneeze. So we do one thing every single week, and that is, of course, we do the do. Actually, I do the do, and Zealeus watches me and then tells me how terrible a person I am and how my teeth are going to rot out and how...
Well, you're not actually a terrible person. You're just doing terrible things to your body, like making your teeth rot out. Your dentist must love you. At least not today, 10 years from now, when you have no enamel left and you'd have to have, like, root count every tooth and dentures. But, you know, at least then, when you need to drink your Mountain Dew, you can take out your dentures and drink it without worrying about ruining your dentures.
Wait! Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. If you somehow, unfortunately, cannot make the Video Games Today panel, we have great news. White Kid 47 has just confirmed that he will be stepping up and not only recording the panel, but live streaming it. Very nice.
No! Praise be to White Kid 47.
Now, of course, if you are in the vicinity of MomoCon, I highly recommend that you go to MomoCon, and of course, make sure that you go to our panel on Friday night.
And of course, by the vicinity of MomoCon, Charlie means Atlanta.
Georgia World Congress Center, to be more specific.
Yes, well.
Next to the CNN Center, actually across the street from the CNN Center, which is also, the CNN Center is also connected to Phillips Arena.
Good Egyptian.
All right. Yes. White Kid is also saying we could try to do the live Thursday Night Hangout there too. We will see. We will see, my friend. We shall see. All right. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into it now. Into the real topics of this conversation.
I'm very confused. I'm very
The show.
Oh, the show must go on.
Woo! All right, ladies and gentlemen. It's a very interesting thing. Everyone has had their own thoughts about giving life to a specific piece of something they love. A lot of people do fan fiction. Some people basically build a fanfic game of for like Zelda, or do a movie about Zelda or Mega Man. And yet, a lot of these times, you have the actual owner of the IP come out and say, "Stop doing that! You need to stop right now.
No more! No more!
Make it go away.
No more awesomeness!"
So my question for you, ladies and gentlemen, is if you were in the role of, or actually if you were able or capable of creating your own twist to your favorite franchise, would you do that? Would you actually put that time and effort into it, knowing full well that 90% of the time you're going to get a nasty letter that says, "Hey, if you don't remove this immediately, we're going to sue your ass"?
No. So I'm going to come from my personal experience. So this year I'm teaching a robotics course. And I'm taking basically my entire curriculum from a curriculum somebody else made and made it my own. Mm-hmm. I guess my analogy would be, if I'm taking a video game that somebody else created and try to make it my own and kind of deviate a little bit from it, knowing that if I could keep it my own, I would probably do it. And that's why I did that for more course. I know I can make it my own. Mm-hmm. Now, if I knew if I did that, if the content creator of this course like, no, you can't do this. You have to follow my exact curriculum letter for letter. Mm-hmm. I'm like, screw it. I'm not going to bother with it. Mm-hmm. Now, I know they're not the same, obviously, because one, obviously the video game industry is all about money and profit-driven. Education's not. But that's kind of how I feel. Like, if I knew I was putting all this time and effort into it, and I couldn't keep my work or even reproduce my work for other people to use for profit or not, like, I'm probably going to do that and not charge people money for it. Mm-hmm. Just because I put in the work for it, I want to share that labor of love with other people free of charge because I think it's so awesome. If I knew I couldn't do that, not even share, just even use it personally, I would be very disinclined to do that because I'm not going to put all that time and effort into producing something if I know there's not basically going to be any outcome to it. Okay. That's kind of how I feel about that. So if I know there's no chance of it seeing the light of day...
Well, it's going to see it for a brief moment.
True. And to be fair, it is definitely a labor of love. There is that part. And to be fair, part of the labor of love can also be maybe learning the process. Kind of learning the process of how, in the world of video games, is, you already have this baseline video games.
Mm-hmm.
Is, okay, maybe now you're going to learn how to make your own video game by, kind of using somebody else's video game to create your own derivation of that. And maybe it gets shut down by the IP controller, but now you've kind of gone through that process once. So maybe now, because you've done that once, maybe you can do it again, but now it's your own unique intellectual property because you've had that first-hand experience.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
So you narrowed it down to video games, but the interesting thing is, yes, video games and movies,
Mm-hmm.
they absolutely get the biggest spotlight when it's reusing an existing IP. Like if you wanted to have Mega Man go somewhere else.
Yes.
Or the big one was Pokemon Uranium,
Mm-hmm.
where someone built an entire Pokemon game. I think it was like 8 years in the making. That's absolutely a labor of love.
Oh yeah.
And it to be honest with you, when it comes to video games or a movie, I think that I would still risk it. Simply because if I'm passionate enough about even thinking about it, I'm at least going to attempt it. And if I'm going to attempt it, I want to try to see it through. Now, however, when you go outside of video games and movies, it becomes a little bit more of a gray area.
Well, take a look at books.
Right, exactly. Well, if you really want to go deep into it,
Fan fiction, man.
fan fiction, yes. And some fan fiction actually gets the names and places changed within it. And then they become a multi-million-dollar top 10 series. And what I'm talking about is
50 Shades of Grey.
which actually originated as Twilight fanfic.
Yep. But, I mean, you see a lot of book fanfics that usually don't get shut down.
I think because the difference is when it comes to literature, when it comes to written word,
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot more leeway because you could change the name. You can have the idea in your head that this person looks exactly like Link from Zelda. But if you change the place from like Hyrule to, I don't know, Zootopia.
Yeah.
Don't use Zootopia because that's a movie. But something, something else. You can literally have it and just change the names and places, just like this lady did for 50 Shades of Grey. And sure, people will be like, yeah, it was a fanfic for this, but they changed the names and now something totally different. When it comes to videos or movies, even if you were to change the name, well, if you change the names, you probably, I don't know. But the thing is, there's a specific look.
Mm-hmm.
So like, if you're doing a movie about Captain America and you got a dude running around, throwing around a shield, but he's called, I don't know, General...
Captain United States.
General USA. They're probably going to get in trouble. Or if you do like a Star Trek thing, but it's not the USS Enterprise. It's the subterranean ship Quadra 4 with cool uniforms. Instead of red shirts, they're green.
Well, I think it's also very different with video games and movies versus books, because typically the only people, let's be honest, the only people who are reading fanfic for books are people who've already read the books.
Oh, absolutely.
You're not going to have many fanfic readers who haven't actually read that
Right.
book, because let's be honest, it's a lot more effort to read a book than it is to sit down and watch a movie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hell, you can watch 10 minutes of a movie and get the gist of it most of the time. And so,
That's the sad reality of Hollywood.
or just watch honest trailers, whatever.
Dude, that's awesome.
Which is, by the way, I love honest trailers. So you're in those moments where, like, I'm just going to go on, Reddit real quick before I go to bed. It's already like 10:30.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 hours later, you've been spending the last 2 hours on honest trailers on Netflix. I mean, not Netflix, on YouTube. I can't be the only one who's ever done that. Honest trailers and CinemaSins.
Dude,
Those are
I'll start with one that I'm like looking at, and they're like, oh, they've got one for this, and one for that, and one for this. And okay, so
Yes.
but here's an interesting thing, and this is kind of where I kind of get pissed about how certain mediums get so much attention and get slapped down so fast, but others don't, and that comes in the form of T-shirts and artwork, because
There was actually, so this week, I haven't had a chance to read it yet,
Mm-hmm.
but I believe it was on Ars Technica. There's an article, I don't know if you read it, that was very explicit, that I saw the headline. It was very explicitly talking about basically why is it that the t-shirt business, which I'm guessing you're going for, why in this day and age of copyright maximalism, why is that able to survive? And I haven't read it yet, so I really want to read that. I just haven't got around to it yet because I want to make sure when I read it, I can ingest it. So yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I think one of the things is that it's a lot, when it comes to t-shirts, it's going to be a lot harder to track that kind of stuff because there's not a centralized location where you can basically go and get those shirts. They're going to have it special printed by like a third-party company, and or they've got a buddy who's got a print shop that you can make any design you want to, and then.
But even look online at Shirt Punch.
Yeah.
Who does them? But I think maybe one of the reasons they get away is it's clearly satirical.
Right.
Like it's not like they're literally just reprinting a TARDIS with a doctor, straight off the BBD website. It's always some kind of creative take on the franchise. And I also think as far as t-shirt looks go, is I think it's basically for advertising for your show. It is. I mean, that's kind of how I look at it. Is you walk around with the Doctor Who shirt, you're like, dude, Doctor Who with kids, that's awesome. It's people see that kind of stuff, and it almost like re-enthuses them. So in a way, to me, it's also kind of free advertising. True. I know the IP holders don't look at it that way. That's not their perspective. But that's I also kind of look at this free advertising. But yeah, you're right though. The T-shirts and the posters are the other big one too. I mean, you go to see all these huge manga posters that are just straight up. I mean, they're not even hiding. They're just straight up copies off the internet of like. Do you think that the IP holders are getting any kind of royalties from that? No. So you're right though. You go to conventions and you see all this stuff, and I'm happy that nobody's coming down on them because that's what makes the convention so much fun. Is seeing all that creative output from all the fans and everything that's going on. I also think, though, that let's just hypothetically say, because Nintendo's the notorious one.
Yep.
So Nintendo's like, y'all can no longer do Pokemon. Yes, I know they don't hold all the Pokemon rights. You can no longer do Pokemon.
Any of them. I mean, they hold a smidge.
I'm just saying Nintendo because it's easy.
Yeah.
Nintendo's like, you can't do Pokemon. Like, there would be a riot at the Nintendo front doors if that happened.
Right.
And I think they kind of recognize that. They're like, there's different ways to maybe draw the line. And maybe they look at because the video games, when you do that, like that's directly on their content. You create a video game derivative. That's a video game that's very cut and dry. Versus a T-shirt or a poster or a cosplay, which is it's clearly a separate medium of creative work. So maybe that's why those work and they don't care as much. I'm just glad they don't, whatever their reasoning is, because us, the fans, we benefit.
Right.
And it kind of helps keep some of these franchises alive, too. I mean, I don't know, would some of these franchises, like a Doctor Who, be as popular if you didn't have these conventions where everybody goes crazy for it?
Okay, so this kind of, because what you said, it reminds me of the thing that still pisses me off to this day. And I don't know why, because I'm not that big of a Star Wars fan, but you had sanctioned stuff. This wasn't fan-made. This was actually made with the seal of approval. And then they're like, you know what? All this extended universe shit, throw it away. Just forget about it.
But that's kind of different, though. Like, it's still...
I know, but still.
Yeah, it's different.
Because we're talking about advertising. You're trying to keep the blood flowing in an entity. Yes, Star Wars probably would have been able to survive, but the thing is, because you had a sanctioned thing, then people actually, bought into exactly what was happening, and it kind of fed on that fever, that fury, that hunger. And because sure, I could write a book about. I'm trying to think of Firefly. I could do a fanfic of Firefly. And then people are like, oh, that's really cool. That would be an interesting idea. And that's where it would be. Instead of, that was a cool thing that they did. It would be interesting, and they did it. But anyways.
But the whole EU thing is really in relation to the new 3 movies.
Right.
Because Disney seeing, like, basically after, with Lucas Enterprises went so far off the frickin' rails, and they literally gave anybody who could write 50 words together a license to write a damn book about Star Wars.
Darth Death Plague.
Like, look, there's a lot of crap out there. We're going to try to pull that together, and let's get, little centralized canon. And that's what it comes down to. What's canon versus not canon.
Right.
Yeah, I know that's obviously a huge part. I'm not a big Star Wars person, so I don't really care either way about the whole EU versus canon, whatever. For me, I'm like, you know what? If it's something I am interested in reading, whatever. I don't care about canonical or not, whatever. It just doesn't bother me that much. Now, if they did it to Lord of the Rings, there would be blood.
True. Like, oh, you remember that whole part about them going to Mordor? Fuck it. They're not going to Mordor anymore.
You know what? After the book, they just took the fucking eagle to Mordor.
Why didn't they just do that? I mean, but anyways.
There's actually good reason for it. I've read it before. There's actually a real reason why
those birds were actually hibernating at the time. It was 2 degrees too cold for them to actually fly. The headwind was all wrong. Whatever. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to the next topic because we're totally going off the rails on this one now.
Is that what we do, man? It's because of the mountain too.
Yeah. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I want to bring up a topic, and I know we've talked about this many times, and that is game key marketplaces.
Yes.
And what is considered the legal gray space. And what I mean by that is it technically legal to basically purchase a key to an item, then turn around and resell it through a different service?
Well, here's the thing.
Yes, sir.
I don't know about the legal. I'm not a legal scholar. I think it should be perfectly legal. To me, I know people look at it differently. To me, that's no different than me wanting to go resell this cup to Charlie for $5 a pop. What the big problem with GT...
But that would have been used.
Yeah, so I'd sell it to you. Yeah, that's fine.
Right.
I mean, I sell it to you.
But the keys are not used.
So this is part of the problem they're running into. What I think where you're going at is, in terms of being the gray marketplace, is you're getting a lot of these key, but even if it's not used. I mean, I can purchase, kind of your example, I can purchase an unopened Firefly pop and sell it to you not used.
Yeah.
But one of the big problems that you get to with the GTA and these marketplaces that they've run into is basically what they'll do is a crime ring will basically sell credit cards. I'm just going to throw out numbers. Let's just say they buy enough keys for $100,000 worth of video games. Mm-hmm. They'll then go onto GTA and sell those all, let's just say, for $50,000. Mm-hmm. They've now pocketed $50,000 in money. They get it immediately, life is good. The problem is because they were all stolen credit cards, is everyone's like, what the hell is this? So they all do cashback. What's the proper term for credit cards? There's like the technical term they use for credit cards when you have a fraud, a illegitimate purchase on your card.
Right. It's
something back. Whatever that is they do that. And what the problem is the publishers get double whammy. One, they have to give all the money back. Mm-hmm. So the game was $50 a pop, they give them the $50 back. And the credit card merchant also charges them a surcharge on top of that. And 3, so it's triple whammy. And 3, if they get enough of these, the gateway merchant may close their accounts altogether because they get in bad standing. Mm-hmm. So that's the big issue with the GTA and these other gray market transactions is, are they on the up and up with the illegitimate keys and not working maybe lockstep as much as they could with the publishers to make it happen.
So these secondhand marketplaces, they'll never work with the publishers. It's actually through
they do it. There are a couple publishers that work directly with G2A.
Okay, well,
I don't know about the top of my head, but I know
what
there's
I've
a couple.
heard is that there's always instances of duplicate keys being sold. And one key for like $15, they made $30 off it. It's a duplicate. Let's see. Sam Grizzle says yes. CD Keys has cheap games. Steam wanted 3 times as much. Occasionally, pawn shops accidentally sell stolen stuff, but nobody says you shouldn't shop there. True.
Well, here's the thing with pawn shops, and this is what I think the problem G2A's is. Mm-hmm. So if you're a pawn shop and you're selling, it's basically merchandise over $200, and it has a serial key like this, you're required by law to check with the government database to see if your device has been marked as stolen. I know this because we've encountered this at work before with stolen devices. And pawn shops know this. Now, whether or not they abide to it, that's a different issue. And that's one of the issues in G2A is there's really no good system in place to deal with these stolen keys. That's coming from the publisher's perspective. I don't know obviously what the publisher is saying to GTA, but that's the publisher's point is G2A is not doing enough to deal with illegitimate keys.
Right, but actually, so G2A basically they released a new service that buyers, not sellers, but buyers can do. They could basically, on top of purchasing, let's say that there's a key out there for $15.
Okay.
On top of that, you could do basically an insurance protection of like, what I don't know, so let's say $5.
Sure.
So you end up paying $20. And that, of course, means that if your key is bad or something's wrong, you get your money back, minus the $5 insurance fee. But why are you holding the customer responsible for what might be bad and not the seller? The other thing is, when you have like a, I mean, yes, the pawn shop, there's some shady stuff, but usually there is some kind of like inventory system where you it's not like there's chances or times where they have owner's information on file. This you could see. I'm Federico Constablio, and I'm selling you 10 of these amazing keys. And it turns out that they're beta keys that I stole from a developer.
Imagine that.
And guess what? Federico is gone.
So let me ask you this question then. Do you think that maybe it would help if G2A required more of an authentication process for sellers?
You mean like a vetting process?
So, yeah, it's vetting, like an actual vetting process for the keys.
Kind of like what Amazon has for their sellers. They have a...
They have the approved sellers, whatever it's called. So, you know, and so maybe it's a good point. So like Amazon, anybody can still list on Amazon. But if you do notice, you don't just buy straight from Amazon, like Charlie put it. You do have the actual legitimate sellers. So it's something with G2A is, you know, anybody can still sell keys on because I like the idea of buying used keys. I mean, to me that appeals, but I have never done that at G2A simply because I'm still not convinced enough that it's on the up and up.
Right.
And I'm just like, well, I mean, like I said, I think it should be a perfectly legal thing to resell keys, but I just don't feel like there's the process in place yet to give me that peace of mind to know that I'm actually buying Charlie's secondhand copy of Smite. I know that's a legitimate key. He's used it. I'm not buying it so he can no longer play it. To me, that's cool. The problem is you don't know if that's what's happening with G2A, and that's where I'm still dubious of the whole process in that regard. Right.
So this is going to go around and around and around, and because there's a lot of ambiguity and there's a lot of vagueness and like where things are and how things stand. So I personally am scared to death of using this type of service.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
What do you think about Steam doing this in this regard? So let's do this. Okay. So I have to burp. I can't sneeze or burp. This is really annoying.
Oh boy.
Oh, there we go. So if you purchase these, let's just say it only applies if you purchase a key on Steam itself.
Okay.
What if Steam offered a resale, basically their own version of G2A through like a Steam reseller thing, where you can only do it if you purchase your key directly through Steam? And furthermore, to prevent the whole cashback thing, the credit cards, that key had to have been in place for at least 30 days to prevent, you know, any fraudulent stuff like that. And of course, Steam would get a cut of the sales, of course.
Developers would immediately remove all their games from Steam because then Steam would make themselves a digital GameStop.
Fair enough.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to the next topic. I'm sure that we can talk about this for days.
There's always days.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about the next one. And that, of course, is let's talk some eSports. And the company, the developer, 2K Sports, is partnered with the NBA.
Shouldn't it be like 2K16?
Yeah, it's 2K17 right now.
Damn it.
Anyways, so 2K Sports is partnered with NBA teams to create a 2K NBA Basketball League.
Basketball League? That's crazy.
League. Okay, so now I don't know all the specifics, but what I can tell you is that out of, I believe, 32 teams, 17 of them will have eSports basketball teams going forward. So what that means is that, for example...
Charlie has an example.
So the Boston Celtics, Cleveland Cavaliers, Dallas Mavericks, Detroit Pistons, Golden State Warriors, Indiana Pacers, Memphis Grizzlies, Miami Heat, Milwaukee Bucks, New York Knicks, Orlando Magics, Philadelphia 76ers, Portland Trailblazers, Sacramento Kings, Toronto Raptors, Utah Jazz, and Washington Wizards will not only have a basketball team, but they'll also have an eSports basketball team where individuals will be playing for that team. Which...
Yay!
And to answer something... Okay, so... yes, Wacky Kid 47 has brought up that they are going to do something with eSports and MomoCon. They are indeed. And then Zealeus says that... Zealeus and I should have a team. No,
At MomoCon. Yeah, we can pwn it, man.
not at 2K Sports.
No, at MomoCon.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the Ultimate Fusion team. We'll make shirts. Anyways, so this to me kind of bugs the crap out of me, to be honest with you.
Why?
I can't.
I thought you'd be like excited about that.
No.
No?
Right. Okay. So yes, they are live streaming something at Turner Studios. That means that it's Counter-Strike. That's E-League.
Is it like part of like the Counter-Strike thing that they're doing that weekend?
Yeah, it's probably. Well, E-League is the TBS show. But anyways, going back to the 2K Sports thing.
Back to basketball.
I think it's interesting. However, it's that type of like situation is already kind of failed because. Has anybody really heard about, the Madden, eSports push? Because that thing kind of died.
But I think that was also maybe a little bit before its time.
True.
And I think I think maybe in a way NBA has seen, the proliferate much more in the last 5 years than you saw before that of, what you're seeing now with League of Legends and Smite and Counter-Strike and all those, and seeing that there's actually an audience for this. I don't know how well it's going to succeed. I'm kind of I'm skeptical.
I just don't understand. If you are okay, fine. I'm going to go with stereotypes here, okay? I will say, because I've been to Atlanta Hawks games since I was wee little boy.
Little boy. He was short once upon a time.
I was never short.
You're short for being a baby.
No, I was tall for a baby. It was humongous. I was over the fucking weight table. Anyways. Here's my thing. The vast majority of the crowd at a basketball game doesn't give two shits about esports. So I understand that by making a component a known entity. So like if I'm a Boston Celtics fan, I love going to the TD Garden and watching my Boston Celtics go up and down the court. What is my is this even going to am I even going to know that they've got a couple of guys who are going to play a video game version of the Boston Celtics? I don't understand the appeal. I understand what the 76ers did. 76ers bought Team Dignitas. And Dignitas, of course, is League of Legends. It's Smite. It's Call of Duty, Dota 2.
Everything.
It basically has their fingers in everything. Yes. 76ers. Okay, that's a known entity. And by the way, we have an esports franchise that plays all these games. Now, when you look at Team Dignitas, you do some research. Oh, they're owned by a basketball team. What basketball team? And then you could go from there. But say, the Boston Celtics basketball team has an esports basketball team.
I think it's just another avenue of trying to expand the brand. It's just another avenue.
How would it extend the brand? I just don't.
Because it's a different market that they can market to with the video game players playing, come play your video games for the Boston Celtics. That'd be pretty cool if you could be one of the esports athletes to play for the Boston Celtics basketball team. That'd be pretty cool.
I guess I would need a lot more information about it. I think right now, it just I don't
see. Is it a league where they play each other? Do they play each other during basketball games, a secret hangout room?
How many games are they playing?
Is there
how many
anything
people
televised?
Per team? Is it going to be televised? Are they going to be streamed? Or are they going to utilize the NBA League Pass to do it? Wow, Sam, tell us how you really feel. Any moron could play for the Magic. Well, if we're going to go that route, I'm pretty sure there's a couple other teams on that list that any moron. Knicks, 76ers, the Magic, of course.
The Pistons weren't too good.
The Kings. Yeah. Anyways, to me personally, I think it's interesting. However, I don't see the appeal. I would love to see what's
the appeal of Smite over basketball when it comes to esports?
Smite is a different. The thing is, you can't get Smite any other way but the game.
Okay.
Basketball for me is like I went to an Atlanta Hawks game. Oh, I guess maybe I don't understand who's the demographic who is going to, once they've seen a live sporting event, they're going to turn around and go, okay, now let me see, a set of people play a digital version of what I kind of just had. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me.
Well, yeah, Counter-Strike, and people could just join the military and do it themselves.
Yeah, but if you get shot in the head in Counter-Strike, you respawn.
Damn it.
In the military, you get shot in the head, you get sent back in a pine box.
What if you believe in reincarnation?
Okay,
that's
fine,
a really long respawn time.
However, that is a shit ton, and you don't know if you're going to come back the same.
Ooh, you could come back as a cockroach.
Or a fly. All right. Anyway, so I find it interesting. I don't know. They're going to do an inaugural season in 2018, so we'll see. But right now, there's 17 teams that have pledged that they're going to be in this eSports 2K NBA.
And who's going to pay for the teams? Are they going to have to be local? Do they have to live together? That's going to be.
Oh yeah,
that's a lot of potential esports players to have to now maintain to make this work too.
Okay, speaking of esports and competitions, let's go to something very interesting. Harvard
University.
All right, so everyone's probably, hopefully everyone by this point has heard about Heroes of the Dorm. It's basically the collegiate level tournament for Heroes of the Storm, brought to you by Blizzard.
Yay!
Now here comes the funny part. Okay, so Harvard, a very, institution of high learning, where only the best of the best go, have already been disqualified because they utilized an ineligible player to help bump up their standing so they can make the tournament. Which is kind of interesting because Harvard is supposed to be filled with smart people and lawyers and stuff, and apparently there's some dumb as brick people up there too.
Maybe they thought they were being so smart and they're going to pull a fast one and get away with it.
So let me give you the actual breakdown here. So this is basically what happened. Harvard University's team Ambush was disqualified from Heroes of the Dorm competition because it violated several of the tournament's rules. An investigation by TESPA and Blizzard Entertainment determined that a player on the team was sharing his Battle.net account during the tournament matches with a higher ranked player who wasn't on the team's submitted roster.
Nice.
So basically, what they said is the rules are in place to ensure a fair playing field for all participants. When these rules are abused, they put the integrity of the competition at risk. The students found to be sharing the Battle.net accounts and the players with whom they were sharing will be banned indefinitely from participating in any future tournaments.
Well, I've always, because you have tournaments to get to, the bigger tournaments, basically play-ins, they're basically played over the internet. And I really wonder how much cheating potentially goes on at these, or even even to get high enough ranking in some of these games to be recognized as a proficient esports player. If they're not like a regular tournament, closed LAN tournament, how much cheating goes on in these games? I can't imagine that it doesn't happen.
Well, I'm sure it doesn't. But the thing is, when you get up to that pro level, the tournaments that matter are going to be LAN tournaments.
But to get to that LAN tournament in the first place,
you do a competitors cup where you basically your team is trying to get as many points as possible to get into a smaller tournament, which is a LAN, but not publicized at all. You do regional, where you and maybe 2 or 3 teams basically face off against each other. The winner of that one then moves up, and then you get like the bigger tournaments.
Yeah.
However, so you have to produce a roster, and once again, if that roster doesn't match exactly who's there, because you have to give a shit ton of information for each individual.
More information than sell a key on G2A.
So, yeah. I have a key for this game. All right.
I might have 50 of them. I bought 50 keys. I thought I might want to play it a lot.
I just find it funny that the team that gets disqualified is Harvard.
That's kind of funny.
But that's kind of weird. But anyway,
you've always thought they're being like really smarty pants, or
they're too smart to get caught.
Yeah, exactly. They had the super secret plan that nobody would ever figure out.
Well, but look at this. Look, the ruling on this is 100% the way that Blizzard does business. You fuck with Blizzard, Blizzard's going to fuck you back really hard. You would talk about I think it was the number 1 or number 2 StarCraft 2 player in the world who's now indefinitely banned from any professional competitions. He did cheat because he was throwing matches, because he was a betting man, and when he knew that if he bet against himself, he could get more money than the winning pot, he did so and then threw the match so he could make more money.
So if you look at the history of Pete Rose, for example, it's there's one big no-no in any competition event.
If you are a professional athlete, you are not allowed ever to bet against yourself or for yourself.
It is a big no-no.
Yeah.
That's like the golden rule. Every other transgression you can probably be forgiven for eventually. Actually, can be, basically. I mean, look at some athletes have done, and they're considered heroes.
Well, I mean, look at there was during the Pro Bowl, some of the National Football, the NFL Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
There was an unsanctioned arm wrestling tournament that had money passing between people.
Yeah.
Technically, some people got in trouble, but not everyone got in trouble. They're not banned forever. But because it's just good old fun. Yeah. It's not changing the outcome of the Super Bowl. And to be honest with you, no one gives a shit about the Pro Bowl.
Can you imagine the scandal if somebody threw the Super Bowl?
Oh my God. Yes.
That would be like the FBI investigation.
Okay, so Sam Grizzle. Low-level tennis has the highest amount of cheating in sports. Those guys spend tons of money on coaches, travel, fees, etc. Don't make squat. Dang near impossible to detect. True. The smaller the blip on the radar, the harder to find it. When you're at the professional level, if you're at the top of the level, you are under a damn microscope.
But it's also a money thing, because as Sam put it, you're at that low level. It also kind of goes back to the cheating thing, where you don't make enough money. You potentially don't make enough money where somebody approaches you to do something for a bet. You're like, okay. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, if you're a Federer or an Nadal, nobody's going to give you enough money to throw a match to make it worth your while. That's just not possible. Versus, a low-level guy, ranked out at the top.
I don't think money would do it. I think you would just have to have very, 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 very attractive ladies willing to do a lot of things. And then maybe they'll think about it.
Well, for them, I mean, at this point, money doesn't matter, let's be honest.
Let's be honest. They could probably get any lady anyway, so that's not going to work either.
This is true. Yes. But for the level, ranked out of the top 100 in tennis, I think you're right. You're always going to be making that $10,000 a year. It's like, at some point, it's like, man, somebody's going to offer me X amount of money for doing whatever. Mm-hmm. It's very tempting. And like Sam put it, tennis is a very hard sport to detect if somebody does potentially throw a match, because I just had a bad match, and everybody has a bad match in tennis. Yeah. I just had a bad match, man, today. I just couldn't hit my first serve. Mm-hmm. I don't know what happened, man. It just didn't feel right. Who's going to know otherwise?
And the vast majority of people who do this type of thing usually do, they do it through a bookie, so it can't be directly traced back to them except for the bookie. And the bookie's usually tight-lipped because they want to keep doing business.
And with tennis, one match isn't going to affect anything in the grand scheme of things. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's... I can't even hit a tennis ball over the net, though, so I'd be a terrible person to put in this position.
I'm going to sign up for David Ortiz tennis skills training.
Just hit as hard as you can.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about... We're going to keep it in the realm of eSports, and now let's talk about something interesting. And that, of course, is the too steep cost of Overwatch.
Wait, was our previous topics not interesting enough for you?
No, I'm saying that. The 2K thing was interesting. The Harvard thing was unique and interesting. And now the Overwatch one, because everyone... Okay, so here's the thing. Everyone knows that Overwatch is going to be the next big eSports league. It's going to explode!
Is it, though?
Maybe not. See, once again, guess who's at the wheel? Blizzard. And so Blizzard has made an interesting couple of requirements for teams, or for the creation of teams for Overwatch. One is...
Well, for the official Overwatch League.
Correct. The official Overwatch Blizzard sanctioned league.
Yes.
Okay? All others are probably going to get their asses sued because Blizzard don't play that way. But here's the deal. Okay, so the official Overwatch League is going to require location-based teams. Okay? So if you because we're in Atlanta, Georgia, we'll be like, there is an Atlanta, Georgia Overwatch team. Now, in order to even say, I have a Blizzard sanctioned Overwatch team, I have to cut Blizzard a check for $20 million. Now, let's put that in perspective. Let's look at League of Legends. I think it's the most expensive League of Legends team is now going for what? 1.8 million. So, 20 million, where you are literally locked into a specific location for Overwatch, or 1.8 million for a League of Legends team, where you could pull in players basically, I think, from your region. So,
And that's why in the past week alone, once Blizzard kind of has told teams this, you've had 5 top, not like puny teams, not like the Ult Confusion team where it's like whatever, like 5 legitimate eSports franchises drop their Blizzard or drop their Overwatch team because they're like,
we don't have one.
That's not going to work.
Okay, so people are like, okay, but Overwatch is going to be so successful. I don't understand. Like, yeah, it's a steep asking price, but come on, they'll make the money back.
But
not exactly. So another piece of the Blizzard puzzle is that that profit sharing is not actually going to be implemented until the year 2021. What profit sharing does, and I'm not exactly sure all the fine the fine print and all that stuff, but basically here's the deal. So let's say that you have 5 teams. Okay, we'll just start with 5 because it's going to be much easier in my brain to do this. Okay, so 5 teams that 20 million a pop. So you're looking at that's 100 million. Okay, $100 million. Now let's say that that the league overall makes $100 million. Okay, that means that every team gets back 20 million.
Yay!
Now let's say let's take the profit sharing out of it. Now let's say that you have these 5 teams, okay, and everyone bought in for 20 million. This team made 5 million, so they didn't do very well. This one made 32 million, so they did great. And then just go on and on. This one with 5 million probably won't have their doors open next year because, well, they just lost 15 million of their initial pledge. This one will probably be like, oh, we got extra money. Now we can really vamp it up.
Yay!
The thing is, when you don't have profit sharing, it becomes very difficult to keep competition going, as well as keep franchises alive long enough for them to actually establish. One of the other things that is worth noting is that 20 million is just to buy a ticket to the show. Once you've bought that ticket, now you have to get a team.
Oh.
And there's no governing body, so I'm not exactly sure what the money breakdown would be. And also, what about sponsorships and all that other stuff?
I'm sure Blizzard gets cut of all of that.
Oh, I'm sure. Now, of course, Zealeus did a little bit of research. Now, if someone were to sell said team, how much money would Blizzard get?
25%.
Which would be roughly $5 million.
That's a hell of a profit margin.
I know. So, as you can see, a lot of people are going, whoa, no, nope, not happening. The interesting thing, okay, so here's my thing. I like the fact that they want to do location-based teams. However, I don't think that, it would be much more difficult to do it over like the entire franchise, like the Dignitas franchise. However, I think that's the only way that a $20 million price tag would even remotely possibly make sense.
Well, they have had one person interested in buying a franchise.
Who's that?
Robert Kraft.
Oh, that's right.
You think about, who's looking at these franchises. You're talking about who can afford these franchises. It's a freaking Robert Kraft. And that's the kind of part that bothers me about this is eSports, in a way, it's kind of been this grassroots thing.
Right.
Where it's kind of been built from the ground up. And a lot of these companies, they're kind of run by people who are they've been a part of eSports for a long time.
Right.
They're part of that culture. It's very much a cultural thing of eSports.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're probably going to get these, because who can actually afford $20 million teams? They're billionaires. People who don't know the first damn thing about eSports. So now you're potentially going to get these owners of these teams who don't even know the first thing about it. Now, to be fair for Robert
Kraft. You mean
Kraft,
the Spirit Group?
Yeah, well, to be fair for Robert Kraft, he's pretty good about letting his GMs run the teams.
Well, but if you want to be, if I want to be completely honest with you, the reason why it's got such a high price tag is simply because they want to weed out the individuals. There are a shit ton of esports teams that play for like that have teams in Smite and Call of Duty, all that stuff, that are here one day and disappear the next because they don't have the capital to sustain themselves. With that huge price tag, they're basically weeding out those people, people.
I disagree. I think it's just a cash grab by Blizzard. I think Blizzard just looked at it and thinks they can get that because because just because you can pay $20 million for your franchise doesn't mean, you said it very first, if you make $5 million that first year, you're going to have to shut your doors. So you can see just as much, if not more, fluctuation with the ownership of these teams because it costs so damn much.
Right.
So I see it as Blizzard just...
Well, I mean, it is a money grab, but at the same token, you're having, I think, by giving them $20 million, there's an additional level of commitment.
Yeah.
There, instead of going, well, we have this team that's being sponsored by Zerby Derby motor bumpers. We've just making enough and we're just competitive enough to play. And then Zerby Derby motor bumpers goes out of business, and then that team just... And I think it would also because one of the things that I see a lot in Smite, because that's going to be my esports game of choice, is there is a lot of turnover and rebranding.
Yeah, that's true.
So this would kind of like, you're not going to rebrand a team that you spent $20 million on. You may redesign the logo, or you might change the name. It's simply because the name was offensive, like the Washington Bullets became the Washington Wizards.
Yeah.
Or you could just continue to be an absolute asshat and do what the football owner does. But anyways.
But I think one of the things I like about the Smite esports scene is like you almost have these teams that organically come up through the ranks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if you have the Smite official team where you have to be $20 million, you're not going to have that. You're not going to be able to like come up through the ranks, so to speak, to become a part of the official team because no organically grown team is going to have that type of profit model. They're just not.
Right.
So I think that's one of the things is you're almost losing kind of that spirit of gamesmanship of you have these teams that can come out of nowhere and do it. Mm-hmm. I mean, hell, even look at the English Premier League where you just have to be part of the league, but you can work your way up to the league without having to purchase your way to the EPL tiers.
Right, absolutely.
You can work your way. You won't be able to even do that with the Blizzard League.
You won't even, because you won't even see the door.
Exactly, and I think that's what bothers me is this $20 million franchise fee. And I get why Blizzard's doing it. Yeah. To me, it loses a little bit of that fun gamesmanship. What?
Mystique?
Yeah, mystique. That's a better word. It's just... that's the part that bothers me. It makes it almost too corporate now.
Right. Yeah, well, of course.
And that's
and the reason, and the thing is, because it becomes more corporate, then it becomes less of a shot in the dark. Because there's very strict guidelines and rules and regulations, and you have an entire power structure of how shit works. Instead of, we made a team, we're awesome, we're just gonna fly by the seat of our pants.
Woo!
So, anyways, I'd be very interested to see what happens. I don't think Blizzard's going to budge, but I'd be very interested to see what the final outcome of this is, since teams are pulling out, which means that a lot of money is going out the door. I mean, if potentially already 100 million just went, good, peace.
I don't know how many teams Blizzard, because this is all still kind of hush-hush. Like, nobody's actually given like the exact deal. But let's just say they're looking for 10 teams.
Yep.
I don't know. I would expect Blizzard isn't going to make their official league until they still get those 10 teams at $20 million.
But how long are they willing to wait, though?
That's a great question. So at some point, do they have to lower it to $10 million?
Because the thing is, I think in my honest opinion, you need to establish the league. And then as time goes on, you could push that asking price up when the popularity starts building.
That's what kind of that's honestly what surprises me most about this $20 million. I mean, hell, I could see them starting at $5 million. And then, like you said, kind of like you see with, any other pro sports franchise, where as time goes up, the value of that franchise increases. That's fair.
Yeah.
Okay, it's worth $20 million from 5 years from now because they appreciate it. That's fine and great because somebody's willing to pay that.
Right.
But starting off all of them at that, that's where I'm kind of doing.
The thing is, when you look at the price of a team in the #1 eSports league right now in League of Legends, and it is 10 times that amount of, I mean, yes, Overwatch, there's a lot of competition, but it's an unproven league.
Mm-hmm.
This
It's still nascent as far as how long it's been around compared to any other esport.
Right.
It just is.
Right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to the next one. This one is kind of interesting, and maybe it's only, kind of interesting to me and not to a lot of people, but once upon a time, there was a game called Phantom Dust for the original Xbox. And it was a game that really flew underneath the radar. It's actually really, really good.
And don't forget, it's unlike anything else you've ever seen on the Xbox.
It really was. Now, here's the funny thing. They are doing a remaster, remake, whatever you want to call it, for the Xbox One. Now, you would think, they update some graphics, change a couple, lines of code, be awesome. Funny story. First of all, Microsoft owns the rights for that game from day one. Okay, because I think it was an internal studio that actually made it, or they bought the studio.
Majesco.
So apparently, what has happened since the release of this game in 2004?
Okay.
Is that no one seems to remember where the source code is. So basically, all the zeros and ones and words and letters and all that stuff has disappeared. So what the engineers and developers and programmers have had to do to make this Phantom Dust remastering a real thing is that they actually had to reverse engineer the entire game.
That sounds terrible.
But they have done it. And they are going to release this game. I don't remember exactly when they're going to release it, but I'm very interested to see if it does as well as it did back in 2004, now that it's 13 years removed.
Now, is this just PC or console or what?
I believe it's probably going to be console and PC.
Okay.
That would, because, we're at the point where Windows 10 and Xbox One share the same architecture, so I would not be surprised if you see it on both those platforms.
Very cool.
It was a fun game back in the day, and I hope that it continues to be so.
Very nice.
All right, let's touch on this really quick. Ladies and gentlemen, we talked about this, the what is it called? The Internet Freedom Act, which is absolute BS. That's like, no. So, ladies and gentlemen, to fight the FCC from removing Title II from their rules and allowing the ISPs to basically pork us up the butthole, you need to go to gofccyourself.com. Once you get to that page, you click on the link that says Express, and you fill out the rest of the information, and then that letter gets sent to the leader of the FCC, and basically you just need to state, do not get rid of Title II. Just do, and then you add some flowery language or whatever. Before I move on, I just want to point out one thing. The head of the FCC does not give two shits about the consumer. You know why? Because they have been, before they were the FCC lead FCC person, they were legal counsel for Verizon, who really, really would love to be able to dictate how you view the internet, what you can do, and of course, destroy any internet video streaming services on the internet.
I will say one ironic thing is, when Tom Wheeler was nominated by Obama many years ago, he was also he was one of the CEOs for one of the, I don't remember which one of the big telecoms.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when he was put in charge, most of the people who actually liked to use it and were like, oh God, this is going to be terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously Tim Wheeler proved us all wrong, thankfully, and was actually a man of the people.
Actually, the interesting thing between him and the individuals that's sitting on there now is that he actually took off his hat.
Oh,
From
absolutely,
that
yes.
and actually put on the I've
Yes.
got to think about the consumer.
Yep.
I'm no longer trying to toe the company line. This dude, on the other hand, goes, you know what? I can make a shit ton more money thanks to Verizon and Comcast and Cox and all those other companies if I just say, you know what? You guys, the ISPs, need to have the freedom to control whatever you want to on the internet to protect your customers from bad stuff.
Won't somebody please think of the poor ISPs? That's really what it comes down to, man. They need our help to help them make more billions.
Help the FCC guy, help the ISP guys to help their money any chance Google helps kill the bill. Okay, so that's a very interesting thing. There has been a little bit of a rumor walking around. There's floating around that if this thing were to actually pass, that Google would try to do a power move in the respects of basically trying to take on as many customers as they can with their ISP. Now, of course, their infrastructure is not completely set up.
They're already trying to, kind of.
Right,
but they
course.
stopped.
However, if this bill were to pass, Google would have further incentive to say, hey, you know what? We're not going to be dickholes and tell you that you can't use Google, you have to use Bing. Or you can't use Bing, you got to use Google.
Unless you buy a Chromebook.
Or you can't watch Netflix or Hulu or HBO Go.
You can watch YouTube only.
Or YouTube. Or you can't go to Facebook. Or you can't do your shopping at Publix or Kroger or Costco. You know what? Use the fucking internet the way you want to. Is what that's the rumor. Now, however, I'm hoping that the bill just gets, gutted and this goes away because let's be honest, the people of America need a win. Okay?
Yeah, man.
At some point, we need a win.
Something for the consumer.
So let's break the FCC site. Everybody just go to gofccyourself.com. And as soon as that page loads, okay, so here's the deal. About 3 or 4 years ago, the FCC was trying to do some crazy stuff, and then there was a petition. There was basically a push to basically tell the FCC to stop what you're doing. And so it was really easy to get there, and it actually broke the FCC website. So now you actually have to, if you do not use gofccyourself.com, you actually go to the FCC website. It's actually like 7 or 8 steps to get there that you have to remember what the exact number of the bill is to then get there. So what Go FCC Yourself does is it goes straight to the FCC website, pre-populates the exact bill that this is in regards to, and then you just hit the express button. So anyways, that's it. Go, do your civic duty. All right. Now let's talk about something awesome. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you may know, actually you should know.
You should.
That Ultra Fusion has definitely loved every single moment that we've been able to have James Simpson of Cell Block Studios on our show. And of course, he's the gentleman behind the SnarfQuest Tales game. Now, of course, the first episode is out on Steam. You could play it today. I don't remember what the price is, but I have to say I highly enjoyed the first episode. But it was Kickstarted, so I just got my Kickstarter rewards, physical rewards. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to show you what the physical rewards are right now.
Wait, we have a physical copy of the awesomeness that is before us.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I don't remember what my level was.
Start rolling anticipation.
Here's the box of goodness.
Holy
okay?
crap, that's a lot of stuff.
I know. All right, so let's start off with the SnarfQuest Tales, the T-shirt.
I'm surprised you didn't actually wear it.
I thought about it, but unfortunately, I would blend in with the backdrop.
That's fair.
All right, then you have the limited edition
more.
SnarfQuest Tales box signed by Larry Elmore himself. All right, let's move on. And then we have the Elmore SnarfQuest RPG Worldbook, which is a D20 system, so you could play the RPG today. And look at that. It's signed by the one and only Larry Elmore. Okay. Now, of course, if you're going to be playing the D20 system
There's more. Oh my gosh.
SnarfQuest, why not have your own figurines? Now, of course, it's really, really small, so it's going to be really hard to show you, but I'll just grab one of them out here so I can Let's see here.
You know what you need to do now with those figurines, right?
I'm not painting them.
Come on!
All right, so here's a little itty bitty one here. It's really hard to say, but you could see that it's a being.
Paint them!
I'm not gonna paint. God, Jesus, these things are really small. So, all right, now comes the big one. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to the SnarfQuest 30th Anniversary Collector's Edition graphic novel. Signed by Mr. Larry Elmo himself. It contains, inside its pages, the entire run of SnarfQuest, which appeared, I believe, is in Dragon Magazine. Let's see here. More than 30 years have passed since Larry Elmore's SnarfQuest first graced the pages of Dragon Magazine back in 1983. In all that time, there has never been a book mighty enough to contain it all. Well, no longer, friends. Behold the 30th Anniversary Collector's Edition of SnarfQuest.
I think I found a new nighttime reading book to your kids.
Oh! Well, I got to make sure that I leave the chainmail lovely lady.
She's a perfect idol for your kids to look up to.
Right. She's the quintessential example, early on, quintessential example of less is more armor.
Has that really changed?
No, it hasn't. But I'm just saying that some people might have based off that idea from this. So anyways, seriously, SnarfQuest. It is a point-and-click adventure game. It's episodic. The first episode is out right now on Steam. You two can play the digital thing. I don't know if they actually have any more of these 30... the 30th year anniversary.
It was just like a limited edition run.
Yeah, most of this was limited edition run.
Yep.
Because I don't even think that there's a lot of these either. I don't think that these exist.
So what you're going to say is you can sell them for millions of dollars in the future.
Sure. I don't sell things. I'm a pack rat, so. Anyways.
And those books will probably never be opened because you cannot ruin them and create a crinkle in them either.
I'll just download the digital version. I'll be fine.
There you go.
So anyways,
on your iPad.
This, ladies and gentlemen, if you want, Wiki says SnarfQuest launched in 1983. Exactly. Yes, SnarfQuest is the comic. The actual game was created by Cell Block Studios by a gentleman by the name of James Simpson, and he conversed with Larry Elmore, and he says the coolest thing in the world to look down at your phone and see that Larry Elmore is calling you. So, and I would believe it.
Oh, she'd call us, man.
I know. Actually, at one point we were trying to talk James into seeing if we could do an interview with Larry. Maybe I'll go back on that one. Anyways, so seriously, if Ultra Confusion wants you to love and support something, it's probably because we give some love and attention and a lot of love to it. Love.
Love is all you need, man. Love.
Now, I do want to say, you may have remembered that I did do a kind of a push for a fast-paced card game called Spellslingers. Well, Spellslingers, of course, thankfully, met its Kickstarter goal, and the gentleman behind it, Vincent Baker, is currently hard at work at trying to hone out all of those. If you pledged high enough, you got to make a custom card. Ultra Confusion is going to have a custom card in the deck. And I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but it's going to be awesome.
The Ball Buster?
The Ball Buster?
I don't know. I'm just being creative.
No, hold on. Give me 1 second, and I'll tell you what it is.
Charlie's going to look it up. And while Charlie looks that up, I'm going to go on to Patreon. So, as you all know, because you come here every Thursday night because you love us and we love you, we here at Ultra Confusion can also use your love. As you can see right now, we do not have our mics because our beautiful sound mixer is hopefully getting RMA'd.
Twisted Meteor.
So what we'd love to have your help on is Patreon to help us with some of our expenditures such as mics and monitors and travel expenses for conventions. We're going to MomoCon soon, which granted it's a short travel, but nonetheless we still have to go there. We have a table, electrical, Wi-Fi, all that stuff. It all adds up. So if you go to our website, it's the link below us.
Yes. Yeah.
The link is below us.
There's a Patreon button right below us.
Right below us.
If you're watching on Twitch. If you're not watching on Twitch, then then just go to Patreon and type in Ultra Confusion.
Yes, where you can give us hopefully monthly subscriptions so we get to that $30 mark so we can get back to the beautiful thing known as Hawk and Steve. And then I can wake up every day happy knowing that my life is complete once again. But of course, for those of you who do not like to give monthly, which we totally understand, there's also a PayPal link where you can give to us one time and one time only, be it $1, $5, $10, $100, $1,000.
However much you want to
All,
do.
all of it helps. All will go towards only Ultra Confusion. As much as I beg and plead with Charlie, none of it goes towards his Rose's cat food, even though I neglect her in lieu of being into Ultra Confusion podcast. It all goes straight towards.
I don't know if they'll
Ultra
actually
Confusion
accept a penny, Whacked Kid. I'm sure there's some kind of like transaction fee.
Yeah, transaction
It's probably
fees,
going to be
yeah.
like 4 cents or 5 cents or maybe 7 cents. Anyways, the thing about Patreon is that, like Zealeus stated, this money all goes towards Ultra Confusion, be it for the lighting, the equipment. I know that a lot of people have wondered if we're going to have an Amazon wish list. I seriously promise we're going to publish it. We've got it. I just have not published it yet. And it's based, you kind of get an idea of what we're looking for in the future. As Zealeus stated, we're going to MomoCon. The unfortunate thing is that, and I've stated this before, I'm going to say it again, that Big Fan of Greenville is probably going to be the last convention we do out of state for a while. And that is because we don't have the money to continue to go to Canuga and all those places. It's unfortunate, but that's the truth. I've been running Ultra Confusion on my wallet for over 10 years now. And, with hotel fee and travel costs and all that stuff, it just adds up. And because Ultra Confusion is not really generating a ton of revenue, and we're basically surviving off of amazing people like you to help support us, give us some love, and maybe talk to people to. The thing is, we don't only if you can't give money, okay, there's other ways you can help Ultra Confusion. All you have to do is just reach out to us through any of these social media things, be it Facebook at Ultra Confusion, Twitter at Ultra Confusio. That's Ultra Confusion without the N, because
the N would blow up the internet.
You can always go to YouTube. That's Ultra Confusion LLC, and of course our website www.ultraconfusion.com. And from there you can contact us. And if there's something that about Ultra Confusion that you would like to help out, then please reach out to us. All of these social media things go back to me, and I'm on top of all this stuff. Now, you may have. I want to put this out here, and then we're gonna end on this because we're almost done. You may have noticed that Ultra Confusion, the website, has seen a very drastic downtick in amount of content, and there's a reason behind that, and that is I've had to take a break. It was not really well. It was a choice, but at the same time, it was not a choice that I had to make. And so that's me. I'm wizzothorns@gmail.com. I need the thing is, that's my PayPal account is set up that way before Ultra Confusion really took off. Now, the reason behind why you haven't seen much content, be it indie or anything, and you've basically just seen video, you've only seen videos and maybe like, a random post here and there, is that I've had to take a sabbatical for the vast majority of it because of health reasons. I'm going to try to climb back up in that saddle, but I apologize that I'm not giving you all of the latest and greatest. I know that for you who've tuned into the video game streams that I've been doing, that have basically only been playing Smite, and that's the same reason. I've had to take a sabbatical from doing reviews and all that stuff. And Smite is kind of like a, it's like back in the day when Zealeus was like, I need to play a game. I have to play a game. I'm going to play Team Fortress 2.
Oh yes, it was a good stress reliever.
Thank
it
you,
allowed
sir.
us to escape and be free.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. We just got a $10 donation.
I can feed my cat.
That's not going towards your cat, dipshit.
Damn it.
But anyways, that's an like Jeff Ramsey taking a sabbatical. If you want to know the entire story, you can of course hit me up, and I'll probably write it to you. I don't want to put it on video, but understand that I want to do Ultra Confusion as best as possible. Now, if there's individuals out there who want to help write articles, want to help review games, want to help spread the word, want to help in some other regard revolving around Ultra Confusion, be it I don't know, whatever, hit me up, and we can work together and find stuff to help the Ultra Confusion brand build, and also make sure that individuals can kind of find out the awesomeness that you guys already know about. Achievement Hunter. Yeah. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, we have basically, do we accept Bitcoin?
We never have before.
Don't know. I don't know how you would, I don't even know what the exchange would be.
I don't even know where to start with Bitcoin.
I'm going to be totally honest with you, because like when Bitcoin was happening, there was like 5 different flavors of Bitcoin. It was like Bitcoin and Zipcoin and...
Look, we're a legitimate service that you probably shouldn't have to go totally incognito for.
No, Bitcoin is a legitimate currency. It's just I've never really heard anything about Wild West Online, a $250,000 Kickstarter game for the PC. No, I have not. However, with that big of a money grab, I do have to wonder, especially when it's online, that seems a little low for an MMO. To be totally honest with you.
Wild West Online, it almost sounds like if Red Dead Redemption went MMO. That's just what the name screams to me. Mm-hmm. I don't know nothing about it. That's just how I read that title.
Yeah, I would assume like the Magnificent Seven, or Fistful of Dollars, or The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, but in MMO form.
Basically Clint Eastwood in an MMO.
Of course.
It works.
How could you not have a Western MMO without a Clint Eastwood character?
Because instead, you have Denzel Washington, man.
Denzel?
The Magnificent Seven.
At least you went to that con, or else we wouldn't... Correct.
Yes.
White Kid. And the thing is, I would love to be able to go to other conventions. Well, there you go. A Red Dead Redemption, a Red Dead-like MMO. I would love to continue to go to conventions. I would love to be able to show Ultra Confusion off at conventions. But one of the biggest things, and I'm going to be totally honest with you, I'm not going to put up any, what's going on here, humans. We are unfortunately about to end our show. One more on to rule them all. But we do this every Thursday night. So if you're interested in finding out a little bit more, you can check us out on YouTube, because all of our videos go to YouTube after we've edited them. And you can, of course, check us out on all these things. And then next Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, we'll do the version of this, which is basically an open forum where we have topics that audiences create or we're asked to talk about, and then we give. If you sign up for the newsletter, then you'll be aware of all the topics. Plus, you can also find out about any interesting content.
Is there a link there for the newsletter too?
The newsletter?
Yeah. Is there a link on the website on the?
Twitter? I don't think it's set up on Twitch. I'll have to do that. I don't know if there is one. You can just go to our website, www.ultraconfusion.com, and hit the contact us button, and then I can sign you up for the newsletter if you want to.
Indeed.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, we've reached the end of our show, but I do want to thank everyone in the audience who has supported the conversation, added their voices, and, of course, given us the awesomeness of their presence.
All of you are awesome.
Now, of course, do understand that the end of the month is MomoCon. MomoCon is a phenomenal convention that if you're in the Atlanta area, you need to go. We'll be there we'll have a table there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We will also be giving a panel on Friday night. And hopefully we could kidnap Whack Kid 47 and take him to Battle and Brew at some point during the convention. But if you would like to meet us at Battle and Brew at any time, just check out any of our social media stuff, and we'll probably tell you when we're going to Battle and Brew. If you're in the Atlanta area, let's go to Battle and Brew. Seriously, let's do it. Anyways, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to the Ultra Confusion Thursday Night Hangout. For myself, Charlie, and Zealeus, it's been a pleasure to give you everything coming out of our heads, our mouths, and, of course, our hearts. We'll be back next Thursday for another rousing round of Thursday Night Hangouts. And, of course, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to find out about some other Ultra Confusion stuff, you, of course, can watch our streams that happen. Our scheduled streams are Tuesdays and Sundays from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern, unless, of course, we are the highlighted streamer of the day, thanks to Battle and Brew, and then, of course, that schedule will change. So if there's any change in schedule, make sure that you're following all of our social media stuff, and, of course, you will notice that I will stream sporadically throughout the week. So just, subscribe or like, follow on Twitch, subscribe on YouTube, like on Facebook, follow on Twitter, and all that other stuff. So anyways, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
Remember, kids, keep on gaming in the free world.
Amen to that, brother.